hello everybody. It's December 8th, 2022. I'm Andy Johnson. You're beginning to watch the program on this edition. This is AM Prime here on WESN. Let's tell you what's happening. We will be talking with Mr. Shane Mohammed. He's a political analyst on the situation in Tobago. You know what that is. 13 of 14 persons who were elected on a ticket called the PDP, the Progressive Development Patriots. They have resigned from the party over differences with the leader of the party, Watson Duke. Well, the PNM in Tobago is suggesting that they should go back to the polls. They can't continue to sit as independents. They weren't elected as such. That situation is bubbling as we speak. Also, we're talking this morning with Ansel Dennis. He's the person speaking about that as well, what the situation is with the PNM's Tobago Council. They're taking a position that the people should be called back to the polls. We'll take you around the region a couple of times, further afield if that is necessary. But we will begin the program with a discussion with Mr. Darrell Rampasad. He's president of the Agricultural Society of Trinidad and Tobago. Strengthening social security to overcome the food crisis. Exactly what that is and what it will mean, what it will look like when it comes to strengthening social security. We want to talk with him about that. So those things and more on the program in this edition. We'll be back in a moment. Stay with us.
Whether it's acid reflux, cataracts, glaucoma, a swollen prostate, diabetes, or weight loss, Customized Health Solutions has been helping Trinidad and Tobago for over 2 decades. So let us help you. Call 627-2640 for your Compass assessment now.
Take your list from A to Z, find it all easily. Everyone comes from far and near to the Specialist Hardware.
Get all you need for your interior or exterior projects, from finishing accessories to small or large tools. We're known for a range of doors, flooring, moldings, medallions, even fountain pumps and tanks. Check us out. We have what you need to get that job done.
Take your list from A to Z, find it all easily. Everyone comes from far and near to the Specialist Hardware.
Oceans Industrial Complex, Union Road, Marbella.
Your Christmas is safe with us at PCU. Police Credit Union. Police Credit Union. Your Christmas is safe with us at PCU. Police Credit Union. Police Credit Union.
Get an easy zero-interest Christmas loan at Police Credit Union today. Borrow up to $25,000 with affordable monthly payments. New members, you get up to $10,000. No interest, no installments until January. Apply online at www.policecreditunion.com. Loan subject to credit approval.
Whether it's your family meet and eat or your own personal getaway retreat, a business trip, accommodation, or a couple's celebration, the Cocoa Reef Resort and Spa has room for you. There's always sumptuous, delicious cuisine and the gym and tennis court for a good workout routine. Then relax by the pool or on the private beach, or just head to the spa. It's also within reach. The Cocoa Reef Resort and Spa, Tobago's best beach resort. For reservations, call 639-8571 or check our website.
Better Value Limited has been making gift giving easier and more affordable for over 26 years. Power tools, indoor, outdoor furniture and accessories, mini appliances, designer fragrances, houseware and home decor products, and all your bridal registry items. Now in stock, our stylish loft bed and study desk combo unit for just $16.50. Better Value Limited. Call 235-3709 or visit us at Princestown or Gullview, or check our Facebook page.
Welcome to the American University of Barbados School of Medicine. We offer 2 comprehensive MD programs, 5.5-year program for high school finishers and 4-year program for college graduates.
The American University of Barbados has been accredited with the Barbados Accreditation Council, BAC, and has been accredited
by CAMHP.
As the medical school has affiliate hospitals at Baltimore and Chicago in the USA and the Caribbean islands.
Register now for the next intake, January 2023.
We make moving simple and easy. No job too big or too small. Pro Movers Transportation, Moving and Logistics. We provide quality delivery service across TNT. Call us today at 779-0802 or see us on Facebook. Same day delivery.
Is there not a cause?
Is There Not a Cause needs more help and volunteers for the many outreach events during this busy, critical season. You can volunteer and help in many ways. Your time, your talent or skills, your resources, or your finances. Is There Not a Cause is making a difference one life at a time. Check Is There Not a Cause's Facebook page for a calendar of outreach and fundraiser events and share where you can volunteer or WhatsApp 394-2042.
Welcome back to the program. The headline on this discussion, the story that brought it about, strengthening social security is key to overcoming the food crisis. That is from Mario Lubetkin, the Assistant Director General and Regional Representative for Latin America and the Caribbean of the Food and Agriculture Association. Here's what he's saying, the Food and Agriculture Organization, the FAO. The last few years have been one of the most challenging for Latin America and the Caribbean economically. The COVID-19 pandemic and its economic and social consequences, the conflict in Ukraine, and the global economic crisis have created a perfect storm. Projections for the coming years are not encouraging either. The most recent upward trend in international food prices began in mid-2020, primarily driven by vegetable oils and grains. On top of that, we now face disruptions in key production chains such as energy and fertilizers due to the war. As a result, today we are facing the highest food price inflationary cycle in recent years, and once again the poorest are the most affected. Food currently accounts for 2/3 of inflation in lower income households, as the poorest spend a higher proportion of their income on food. This has a direct impact on access to healthy diets and rising hunger figures. He says other things that we want to get into now in our discussion with Mr. Daryl Rampersad. He's president of the Agriculture Society of Trinidad and Tobago. Good to see you, sir.
Morning.
All right. Tell me what you understand. Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, so what he's speaking about there, no attributes to the issues has been also attributed to being a global issue that we have been facing for the past couple of months in Trinidad. And one of the other issues, and something that is very important to take into consideration, is the effects of climate change. And that is one of the factors that has been affecting us a lot immensely in the last couple of weeks. As we have been outside on the field as late as 9 o'clock last night assisting farmers, it's going to take the agriculture sector as much as 6 months to get out of where we are right now because of the damages that we have been getting due to climate change in Trinidad and Tobago. And when we talk about social security, we are also looking at it as a global issue going forward.
What you said you were out until 9 p.m. last evening. Doing exactly what?
What we're doing right now, the Agriculture Society of Trinidad and Tobago has embarked on an agricultural outreach program to assist affected farmers that has lost most due to the effects of climate change in the past couple of weeks. So what we are doing right now is that we are distributing seeds. We are doing agricultural hampers. So instead of giving somebody a hamper for them to eat for a day, we are giving some of these smaller farmers a hamper that they can restart planting. So some individuals will receive up to 600 seeds, fertilizers, insecticides, fungicides, packet seeds, all these other things. And we have also identified issues such as the giant African snail and the locust problem. So they'll also be receiving things to combat the giant African snail within those packages as well too.
So how have people been, are there some people who have been so affected that they have to cease their operations or what?
We have some individuals that have been absorbing losses for as much as 10 times this year. Right, we had one area that was hit almost 6 times for this year already. We have some individuals and some smaller farmers that we may lose as farmers in the next year of 2023, because they simply just cannot afford to continue to absorb the losses that we are getting right now and go forward producing in agriculture. One individual that we assisted last night explained that she lost every single thing. As a single mother, she lost her crop, right? And she also lost appliances in her household as well, because besides her almond production, her house was also affected by flooding. And it's rather sad to see that we have farmers outside there that are losing not just their products, but their house as well too, alongside their automobiles and all these things.
And your support comes about how? Where do you get the means and the wherewithal to provide the kind of support that you're providing?
Right now, some of the support came from a small part of the allocation that was given to the Agriculture Society, and majority came from the private sector that we partnered with. So, for example, we have companies coming on board, such as Asasco, Agostini, Mafas Limited, even Massey Distribution. These individuals came together and also donated towards the cause of the farmers, because at the end of the day, the farmers have been supported them blindly for the entire year. So far we have been pleading with the private sector as well to partner with us to assist the farming community going forward. We have most of the companies coming on board, except so far for Caribbean Chemicals, who said that they are not in a position to assist farmers at the point in time. But most of the other companies have come on board to assist the farmers at this time.
So this statement from Mr. Lubetkin says, for instance, we are facing today the highest food price inflationary cycle in recent years. And once again, the poorest are the most affected. Food currently accounts for 2/3 of inflation in lower income households, as the poorest spend a higher proportion of their income on food. Do you see that in your reactions with your members?
We strongly agree to that, because we have a lot of members reaching out for assistance. And besides that, right now we are also working on seeing if we can get the criteria changed for those who can receive assistance or compensation and base it upon production. Because, you know, from the past, being on the same program here, we spoke about the issues of land tenureship. And if one doesn't have that, they cannot be a registered farmer and cannot receive the incentives or the benefits or the assistance going forward from the incentive program. So this is something that, and the time is now to change this criteria so that we can assist some of these farmers going forward. We need to base it upon production and not based upon land tenure, because we have a lot of farmers, as I always reiterate on this program, up to 65% of the farmers of Trinidad and Tobago do not have land tenure. However, they are producing farmers, and we need to start supporting these individuals if we are to see continuity in agriculture.
So, and with whom are you working to sort that out? The people in the Ministry of Agriculture?
Well, besides being the president of the Agriculture Society, I also chair the advisory committee within the Ministry of Agriculture. And right now we are working on the incentive program to change the criteria, right? Suggesting to change the criteria so that we will make it more farmer friendly, more farmer accessible for these individuals to be able to benefit from the incentive program going forward.
Yeah, but you say people are operating in the sector, but they don't have tenure for the lands that they work. What is standing in the way of them getting what is necessary then?
So, for example, now, right, the criteria to be a registered farmer would be that you should have land tenure or some sort of written permission to use a parcel of land. In most cases, some farmers do not have that. Again, going forward, they don't have written permission, or some of them are squatters going forward. However, they are producers, and what we are asking for is that we now base the incentive program on production. So therefore, these producing farmers will be able to access the incentive program. We have a wonderful incentive program, by the way, but on the other hand, how accessible is it to the farming community? We need to make it more farmer friendly and more accessible to the farming community. And adding to that, we are also looking at adding or increasing the incentive on protected agriculture as well too. Because due to the effects of climate change, we are seeing more than ever that we need to change the farming systems in Trinidad and Tobago and move into protected agriculture. Again, shade houses and above ground pens and all these things. We see more than ever a time to get into that type of agriculture. So increasing the incentives and so on that type of farming is going to drive agriculture into that direction. If we are looking at food security, we need to look at how we also secure our food if we have to be sustainable in this agriculture sector.
Explain to people the concept of shade agriculture.
Okay, so basically shade agriculture gives protection against the elements of the weather, right? As we've seen before, we have farmers who are more than capable of planting their crops. However, in terms of protection from the elements that we are facing, because as it is now, even if you are not exposed to flooding, right, it's very difficult for a crop to perform in that amount of rainfall that it is receiving there. However, if we move the systems into a shade house, so for example, during the rainy season, being an agronomist by profession as well, I understand that certain commodities, tomatoes, even celery, cannot withstand that amount of rainfall. However, if we move it into that type of shade house system there, we are going to do more or less what we call protected agriculture, eliminating some of the risk involved in agriculture at the same time too. Therefore, ensuring that we have commodity on the market. As it is now, once you are doing outdoor farming, you are faced with almost 100% risk as it pertains to the natural elements outside there. And what we need to do is start eliminating that risk and putting a little more certainty to what we do in agriculture.
And what stands in the way of doing that? Was it processes and what do you say, regulations by the Ministry of Agriculture or stuff like that?
Well, first of all, the incentive program does cover the aspect of protected agriculture and hydroponic. We need to start creating that awareness, and from the Agriculture Society, and in the year of 2023, we are going to be promoting a lot of, in terms of education-wise, the benefits of going into protected agriculture. And we have also started speaking to members of COLICP, which is concerning the European Union, as we look into funding to help some of the farmers as well get into this venture as well too. And I believe by increasing that incentive on protected agriculture is going to help drive that aspect or that part of the sector going forward there, because we need to start thinking futuristic in terms of food production, and that is the next move going forward for some of the farmers of Trinidad and Tobago in the low-lying areas.
Yeah, and food security, strengthening social security in food. What does that mean?
As it pertains to that, and you talk about social security, right? It also pertains to some of the global issues and partnering to make sure that food will already be more available, right, with our counterparts in different areas, exchange programs and so on. But as you know, we also have free trade within CARICOM. It's a matter of comes down to a matter of availability right now. Because when you look at the current prices that we have on our market, it's not because the farmers are driving up the prices because of the issues that we face, It's because of the availability on the market right now. So we need to look at, as they mentioned, strengthen social security, right, and awareness as well. It comes down to a fact about partnering and at the same time, more awareness in terms of where could we be heading with the agriculture sector at the same time.
Yeah, and where does your organization see that we should be heading?
Where we see and where we agree that we should be heading right now is into protected agriculture. Because if we continue in the direction that we are now, we are not going to be able to afford locally produced items in the next year if we continue on this way, because already we are entering into the Christmas season and you see certain commodities being retailed very high because of availability. Imagine tomatoes, $25 a pound, sweet pepper, $25 a pound. That this is locally produced items, but for the average household, some households wouldn't be able to afford such commodities going forward. And if we are to look at that, the Agriculture Society stands for going into protected agriculture therefore not only making food available, but making it more affordable for our consumers too.
And the Ministry of Agriculture is on the same wavelength with you all about it?
They are on the same page with this program right now. And even up till last week, in conversation with the minister, I know that he visited Arangwes and Plumita and even Orange Grove, looking at some of the issues that the farmers are facing on the ground there as well too. So I want to say kudos to him for coming out and actually seeing what it is taking place within the farming community. It's been a long time since we had a minister on the ground with the farming community.
So that means that's encouraging news for you all and for this sector.
Well, it's encouraging news for us and encouraging news for the farmers at Trinidad and Tobago, because for the past more than 6 years, we haven't really seen an agriculture minister that is actually visiting the farming communities and taking into consideration the issues that plague the farmers of Trinidad and Tobago. So, for example, the advisory committee that I now sit as chairman, it was an initiative of the minister to put that committee in place so that he could have an idea of the issues on the ground affecting the farmers and the suggestions in terms of how we can fix some of these issues there. So I hope going forward in the future that the suggestions coming out of that committee is given strong consideration in terms of repairing or fixing some of the issues that we have in agriculture currently.
Yeah, we got to go, but let me just ask you, if you say that people may not be able to afford locally produced goods, well, if we can't afford local production, can we afford imported stuff?
Depending on where it's coming from, again, it's up to availability. And right now, as we see, we are facing these issues globally as well too. So even some of the imported items are up. And as you mentioned before, some households will not be able to afford some of these commodities going forward. And we hope that some form of relief comes to these farmers of Trinidad and Tobago, because it's going to take us close to at least 3 to 6 months to start to balance back the market. And bearing in mind that after that 6 months there, we will be heading back into the rainy season again. So again, I just want to reiterate that the agriculture stands firm in the support for moving into the protected agricultural systems if we are to look at a sustainable sector in terms of agriculture right now and food security.
All right, Mr. Daryl Rampersad, President of the Agricultural Society of Trinidad and Tobago. Thank you very much for talking with us.
Always a pleasure.
All right, we're going to take a break. Much more to come. Stay with us.
Welcome to the American University of Barbados School of Medicine. We offer 2 comprehensive MD programs, 5.5-year program for high school finishers and 4-year program for college graduates.
The American University of Barbados has been accredited with the Barbados Accreditation Council, BAC, and has been accredited
by CAMHP.
As the medical school has affiliate hospitals at Baltimore and Chicago in the USA and the Caribbean islands.
Register now for the next intake, January 2023.
Better Value Limited has been making gift giving easier and more affordable for over 26 years. Power tools, indoor, outdoor furniture and accessories, mini appliances, designer fragrances, houseware and home decor products, and all your bridal registry items. Now in stock, our stylish loft bed and study desk combo unit for just $16.50. Better Value Limited. Call 235-3709 or visit us at Princestown or Gulfview, or check our Facebook page.
Whether it's your family meet and eat or your own personal getaway retreat, a business trip accommodation or a couple's celebration, the Cocoa Reef Resort and Spa has room for you. There's always sumptuous, delicious cuisine and the gym and tennis court for a good workout routine. Then relax by the pool or on the private beach, or just head to the spa. It's also within reach. The Cocoa Reef Resort and Spa, Tobago's best beach resort. For reservations, call 639-8571 or check our website.
Horse and lights, hands and bars, making your home a work of art.
Step into a spacious place of creative ideas for your home space. Our floor and wall tiles and natural stone is ideal for any use you need in your home. Toilet, bathroom sets and vanities lend design to your creativity, while jacuzzis and shower enclosures create the mood for dwelling on life's pleasures. Lamps and lighting fixtures add ambience and memorable pictures.
Wholesale lines, tiles and bath, making your home a work of art.
Oceans Industrial Complex, Union Road, Marabella.
Whether it's acid reflux, cataracts, glaucoma, a swollen prostate, diabetes, or weight loss, customized health solutions has been helping Trinidad and Tobago for over 2 decades. So let us help you. Call 627-2640 for your Compass assessment now.
Make your list from A to Z, find it all easily. Everyone comes from far and near to the specialist hardware.
Get all you need for your interior or exterior projects, from finishing accessories to small or large tools. We're known for a range of doors, flooring, moldings, medallions, even fountain pumps and tanks. Check us out. We have what you need to get that job
Make your
done.
list from A to Z, find it all easily. Everyone comes from far and near to the specialist hardware.
Oceans Industrial Complex, Union Road, Marabella.
At Belgroves, celebrating life is our commitment with integrity, compassion, and dignity for your loved ones. Belgroves Funeral Home and Crematorium, serving Trinidad and Tobago for over a century.
Living in victory every day.
Inspire, motivate, encourage, hope. It's about topical issues. It's about everything that you would want to know about hope, about life. At the end, you're going to say, yes, if he can do it, I can do it too. If she can, I can do it too.
No matter what they say, living in victory every day.
Nicole Lawson Live, living in victory every day. Every Sunday at 8 p.m. and Wednesday at 4:30 p.m. on WESN.
Well, welcome back to the program. In lieu of our discussion, our proposed discussion, or hoped for discussion with Mr. Ansel Dennis on the situation in Tobago, let's begin taking a look around the region. We want to begin with a story in Jamaica where they say states of public emergency have been reimposed in parishes such as St. Anne's and Clarendon and St. Catherine and specified areas of Kingston. Let's have a look.
Across the island. This time, St. Anne and the St. Andrews Central Police Division have been included. Prime Minister Andrew Holness made the announcement a short while ago.
One in the entire parish of St. Anne, Clarendon, St. Catherine, and specified areas in the parishes of Kingston and St. Andrew. The other is in the entire parishes of St. James, Westmoreland, and Hanover.
Justifying the need for the enhanced security measures, the Prime Minister says the last declaration saw a reduction in major crimes in the areas where they had been implemented. He says security officials have been concerned about the measures ended midnight on December 12.
Unfortunately, an increase in criminal activities in these areas, and indeed a threat to property and in some instances public disorder.
The new SOEs will expire midnight on December 20. In the meantime, Prime Minister Andrew Holness did not mince words against critics of the government's intent in the fight against crime. O'Shane Masters reports.
Prime Minister Andrew Holness says the need for the imposition of the states of public emergency is justified. His comment follows criticisms from the opposition and other groups within society which have bashed the government for using the measure as a crime-fighting mechanism. Speaking at a press briefing Tuesday morning, Mr. Holness said those individuals are living in a, quote, dream world, end quote. Now, he says, based on evidence, the country is under threat from organized criminal elements.
The people who complain about the SOEs are not the people who benefit from them in the communities where they have to hide under their beds, hide their daughters, can't go to church, and they see their sons and their boyfriends and husbands killed. That's a reality. The government is trying to build up our capacity.
The Prime Minister also had this word.
But there are those who are entrenched in the system for only political reasons, who parade as if they are independent, but they are political activists trying to obfuscate, confuse. For what purpose? To save your life? No, to gain power.
The opposition People's National Party was not spared from the attack of the Prime Minister.
But I wish to use this platform today to make it absolutely clear that those who take comfort that the opposition will continue to derail the government's attempt to save lives and reduce violence, that there is no such comfort to be had, because the government will be relentless on all fronts to combat your criminal and violent intent.
In the meantime, Mr. Holness says he will be traveling to Washington later today to further deepen relationships in a bid to reduce transnational crime. According to Police Commissioner Major General Anthony Anderson, some 30 individuals are on a targeted list of suspects.
They can't feel that they are free to influence, direct, solicit, and finance crime in Jamaica. So I head to Washington to have meetings with the Justice Department, the FBI, and other entities there, because I am serious. If you are overseas and you are sponsoring, directing, soliciting, or financing crime in Jamaica, we're going to get you.
Shane Masters, TVJ News.
Meanwhile, at least one resident in St. Anne has raised concern about the imposition of the measure in the Garden Parish. A business operator of Brownstone, Alric Denton, says there are numerous questions that need to be answered.
No, because crime is not underneath on a rise in St. Anne, so to speak. We only have a little bit of patches now and here and there, but nothing of severe. We call down this thing, and after 2 years of locking down in the country and that pandemic, we are going to a Christmas season when we are trying to recuperate. Nothing not going on. We try to recuperate and we are under state of emergency. I don't understand the logic behind that.
Mr. Denton fears that business operators within the usually busy town will be disrupted. However, Prime Minister Andrew Holness says not so.
Construction of the powers that will be deployed in the SOEs will be mindful of commerce, of entertainment, and of persons' movement. So the notion that somehow the SOEs will cripple business or cripple commerce, that's false. Now, I noted that following
Over in Negril, President of the Chamber of Commerce, Richard Wallace, has welcomed the reimposition of the security measure.
And stakeholder in tourism, I'm very happy that the Prime Minister has taken the initiative to reinstate the SOEs in this area. Since they expired last week, the murder rates have increased in Westmoreland. And this goes to prove further that the SOEs do work in reducing crime and murders. So we're happy that it's back in place, and we're hoping now that we will have a peaceful Christmas season, and we can look forward to doing some business.
All right, well, let's move to this story now. Mr. Ansel Dennis, he's the council leader in Tobago for the People's National Movement. He's calling for fresh elections, given what has happened in Tobago. 14 of the people who were 13 of them who were voted in on the ticket organized by the Progressive Development Democratic Patriots. They have resigned from the party over the feud with their leader. Mr. Dennis is saying that they can't continue to sit in the House in the manner in which they are continuing to do that. The people should go back to the polls. He's with us this morning. Good to see you, sir.
Good morning. Good to be here. Good morning to listeners and viewers, wherever you may be as well.
Yeah.
It's a pleasure being here.
All right, thank you very much. Well, the thing is that there's a debate among some people in the country, in Tobago as well as in Trinidad, that going back to the polls is not necessary. You don't agree with that?
Well, legally, based on how the THA Act is written as we speak, it is quite possible for these 13 assemblymen to remain in their seats. The thing is, it is my firm view that while this is legal, it is totally unethical and undemocratic. It is unprecedented. And when I say unprecedented, it's not the first time that members of one party in the THA left the party and went across to align themselves with another faction. This happened before. But as it relates to the governance, it is the first time where all members of the majority, meaning the people forming the executive, the government of Tobago, have decided to leave their party and to now call themselves independent. While again it is legal, it is highly undemocratic for these individuals to campaign, utilize the symbol of a particular political party, sold themselves as members of that political party, supported the mandate of that political party, got the support and buy-in of Tobagonians with the expectation that they will, govern under this umbrella for the next 4 years, for a 4-year term, pursuing that particular mandate, only to now change their minds because of the internal issues within the political party, and go and sit there and call themselves independent. That to me is a hoodwinking of the people of Tobago, and it's a hijacking of our democracy.
Why are you calling it a hijacking? I mean, so there's this falling out with them and the leader of this party, and they decide, well, so we're not going to go back to the polls, but we can continue to function in this manner. The armed bloc, it's not one or two of them, it's all of them besides Mr. Duke.
Well, again, I just made the point that they sold themselves under the umbrella of a particular political party, and they now call themselves independent. But I do not support the idea that they are independent in the first place. I prefer to call them defectors or nowhereans, because in order to be truly independent, you have to sell yourself to the Tobago electorate as an independent. You then have to sign up as an independent candidate. Of course, the EBC has its provisions for that, where anybody could choose to run an election as an independent candidate. The EBC will actually give you a symbol to choose from, and you go on the ballot as an independent candidate. You must then win the election as an independent candidate, and then you go and sit in the assembly and operate independently. And we all know that throughout the history of elections, independent candidates in this country normally don't win. In many cases, they lose their deposits. There was one particular case in the Tobago House of Assembly back in 1996 where Mrs. Deborah Moore McGinnis was able to win as an independent candidate. A few years after that, she formed her own political party, and that political party today is now in the political cemetery, as we like to call it, right? So it's a hoodwinking and a hijacking of Tobago's democracy as far as I'm concerned. And while the THA Act allows for it to happen, I see that as a loophole in the Tobago House of Assembly Act, because it cannot be right, it cannot be democratic for Tobagonians to elect a PDP administration overwhelmingly 14-1, only for them, because of their internal issues, to now come and separate themselves from that political party and that mandate, having utilized the party's name, symbol, ideas, philosophies, and mandate, and to say now that they are independent, which I do not agree with. They are not independent. In addition to that, there's even talk about them possibly forming a new political party, which is even worse.
Yeah. What are they then? If you are contending that they're not independent, who are they dependent upon?
Well, they are defectors or nowhereans. And clearly they support the sitting chief secretary for obvious reasons. This is not about Tobago, in my humble opinion. This is not about doing the right thing. This is simply about a fallout with their political leader, right? And there's a history where that is concerned. And I place the responsibility for that on all of them. They may now seek to blame Watson Duke for this fallout, but they all knew who Watson Duke was when they aligned themselves with him and decided to form this unholy, precarious alliance. They knew exactly who he was. They defended him from the rape charge. They defended him when he was under scrutiny for alleged seditious statements. They defended him for all the disrespect. They even did some of the most daring things with him. They joined him in the swim from Scarborough to Toko. Well, they never made it. They didn't swim all the way to Toko. I think they were assisted by a few boats. They joined him in a walk from Roxburgh to Scarborough, and they supported him because at that point in time, they were not in power. Now that they are in power, having tasted power, they are quite prepared to get rid of Watson Duke or separate themselves from the political organization now, because the THA Act allows for it. And I am seeing that as a loophole. The THA Act is not a perfect document. It's not a perfect piece of legislation. We had some challenges with the Act back when we had the 6-6 tie in January 2021, in that the THA Act did not have a pathway to return to the polls, and therefore we had to rely on the Parliament to make some changes to facilitate a return to the polls. This here now is another loophole, as far as I'm concerned, that provides this opportunity for these people to hijack Tobago's democracy and operate in an undemocratic manner. And we in the PNM, we are not going to engage in any court matters where this is concerned. We believe that it is an issue to be dealt with by the people of Tobago. The people of Tobago must be convinced enough that this situation is not democratic at all. And in law, whenever there is a loophole, of course, the courts of Trinidad and Tobago, the judiciary of Trinidad and Tobago, is available to every citizen who may wish to attempt to rectify this situation.
What do you know to be, or your side know to be, the issues between these other members of the party, well, what was the party, and Mr. Duke? What are the issues?
Well, basically, they are now agreeing with us that Watson Duke is not somebody to be associated with, because in the PNM, throughout the campaign, we said that Watson Duke is unfit for office because of his track record, because of his mannerisms, because of the fact that he's on a rape charge. We said that Watson Duke has no place in public office. So notwithstanding that, they decided that they would support him and align themselves with his political party. They decided that they were going to even defend Watson Duke whenever we placed the facts before the people of Tobago. And I guess at that point in time, they believed that it was in their best interest so to do until they got into power. And you have to remember that it was a party decision to allow Farley Augustine to spearhead the THA election campaign and be the one put forward by the party as chief secretary. And again, a chief secretary never appeared on the ballot in a Tobago House of Assembly election. The people of Tobago voted for representatives, right? 15 representatives of the PDP in the form of candidates were put forward to the people of Tobago. The people of Tobago bought into that. And of course, through the party arrangements, we knew in the PNM that if we had won the election, we would go to the Assembly Legislature and elect our political leader back then, Mrs. Tracy David Celestine, as Chief Secretary. In the PDP, all the assemblymen knew and all their supporters knew that if the PDP won the election, because of the internal arrangements of the party and because of that party decision that was taken some time before, that if the PDP won the majority of seats, they will then go to the Assembly Legislature and vote for Farley Augustine as their chief secretary, right? So that was a party decision. But now, having utilized the party for the purposes which they desired, they are now prepared to separate themselves. And I am saying, if they are prepared to do that, then they must think about the people of Tobago and the will of the people of Tobago. And I'm saying that this is not democratic, it's highly undemocratic for them to now seek to separate themselves from the organization which they campaign with, whose leader they defended, and all of that. And now that they are in office, they are quite prepared to do their own thing. And again, while the THA Act allows it, I see it as a loophole, and it's a loophole that I hope will be fixed in short order.
Apart from hoping, what else you all are doing to bring it about or to make this situation explainable to the people who would have voted for in such large numbers for the PDP then?
Well, we will continue to make our position very clear. I have attended several press conferences and interviews and stuff, along with other representatives of the party, the minority leader, who is our lone assemblyman in the THA. And of course, because of the discipline of the PNM and the organization that we are, we will never have a situation where any PNM assemblyman decides that he no longer wants to associate himself with the PNM after campaigning with the PNM and getting into office. Because I will say this as well, none of them there, none of the 13 of them would have won their seats as an independent candidate. All of them would have lost their deposits, and that is the reality, right? History is there to show it, and we all know that as a jurisdiction, Trinidad and Tobago, we pattern the Westminster system, which gives prominence to political parties. Political parties are highly important. It's part of the checks and balances that we have in place to keep our leaders, elected leaders, accountable. And once political parties operate in accordance with the constitution and in accordance with the law, then we will not have these problems. So the issue here again with the PDP is that as a new, unprepared political party, they have broken under the pressure, because once you have organizations where people are involved, there will be times of disagreements. We in the PNM have had that, but we did not break, we did not buckle. People didn't resign and leave the party. People didn't go off and do their own thing. The party didn't change name or change color or anything like that. We just lost an election 14-1. and the PNM did not break up. We continued to administer our business in a decent, democratic and organized manner. We conducted a very free and fair internal elections in the Tobago Council, and we just had the national internal elections a couple of days ago. And we continue to be a stable political organization.
What is your sense of how the people in Tobago are taking this and responding to this, or would like to respond?
Well, based on what I've seen and heard so far, the people of Tobago are in agreement with everything that I've said, in that even those who supported the PDP are saying, we voted PDP. We did not vote for any independent candidate. That is what the people of Tobago are saying.
But the PDP has been exposed as having been destroyed, it would seem.
Well, I'm not in agreement that it has been destroyed. The PDP still exists. The political leader is there. The other members of the party executive is there. So the party still exists. It's a properly and fully registered organization with the EBC. They continue to operate even in Trinidad. They have gone nationally now. So the PDP is not destroyed. It's just a situation where 13 members of the assembly who are now in power in the THA have defected. And I can tell you, if the THA Act did not provide for them to do that, they would have had no choice but to resolve their internal issues. But because of the loophole in the Act, they decided that it's possible for them to stay in power, continue to enjoy the responsibility. Well, I don't even think they enjoy the responsibilities of office. They probably enjoy the perks of office. So because the THA Act makes that possible, they are quite prepared to do that. Had it not been possible, they would have done what was required to sort out their internal issues, whether they force a party internal election and let the membership of the party remove Watson Duke as political leader and hopefully elect Farley Augustine as the new political leader. The PDP's constitution, based on what I've seen, there are arrangements within the party that should have allowed them to deal with this matter.
Yeah, all right.
But the THA Act allows them to move on with the power, and that is why they are doing this.
All right, I imagine this is going to be part of your party's sort of campaign to bring these things to the attention of the people and probably get the electorate to force a different kind of outcome.
Definitely. This kind of thing should not be allowed at all.
All right. We're going to leave it there. Thank you very much, Mr. Dennis, Ansel Dennis, the political leader of the PNM in Tobago. We're going to take a break. We have news at the top of the hour. We'll continue on the other side of that. Stay with us.
Here is your WESN News on the hour. My name is Sean Michael Small. Thanks for joining us. Here are the headlines. Driver granted bail for touching 12-year-old girl. Hazardous seas alert issued. Paria's health, safety and environment technician testifies. And internationally, Taliban conducts first public execution since return to power. Now for the details. A 44-year-old driver was granted bail with a surety in the sum of $150,000 when he appeared at the Chaguanas Magistrates Court after he was charged with sexual touching. The accused was also ordered to stay 400 meters away from the victim and her family. He is expected to reappear in court on the 19th of January 2023. Police reports indicate that during the period of the 1st of June 2021 and the 30th of June 2021, the victim was asleep in her bedroom when the accused entered the room and allegedly touched her on her private parts. The 12-year-old girl later confided in her mother, who made a report to the Child Protection Unit Central on the 30th of June 2021. CPU detectives launched an investigation which led to the arrest and the charging of the suspect on Friday the 2nd of December 2022. A hazardous seas alert, yellow level, has been issued by the Met Office. Large breaking waves in excess of 3 meters due to long period swells are likely along nearshore, north exposed coastlines of Trinidad and Tobago. Choppy conditions are also likely in the Gulf of Paria. Conditions will be amplified during high tides and exacerbated at spring tides. Effects will first be experienced on northern shorelines of Tobago and then Trinidad within a couple hours afterwards. Impacts include dangerous conditions for swimming and small craft operations near affected coastlines. Paria's Health, Safety and Environment Technician Andrew Dobson testified before the Commission of Inquiry on Wednesday. Dobson testified that if Paria Fuel Trading Company Limited had been constantly monitoring works being done by LMCS on February 25th, the 4 divers would not have died. Dobson said that if Paria had constant monitoring of the video screen in the hyperbaric chamber, this tragedy could have been prevented. The incident left one survivor, Christopher Boudram, who already testified before the inquiry. Internationally, the Taliban has carried out what is thought to be their first public execution since their return to power in Afghanistan last year. A Taliban spokesperson said a man was killed at a crowded sports stadium in southwestern Farah province after he confessed to murder. Dozens of the group's leaders, including most top ministers in their government, attended the shooting. It comes weeks after judges were instructed to fully enforce Sharia law. Well, that's the news on the hour on WESN. I'm Sean Michael Small. Thanks for watching. Take some time for yourself or spend some time with the family at Sandy Point Village Hotel. Enjoy our various studio and suite apartments, self-contained with their own kitchenettes and Wi-Fi. We also have our famous 100-foot swimming pool and our beachfront restaurant, the Steak and Lobster Grill. And our location in Crown Point puts us near the center of activity from the nylon pool to the local nightlife. Call us and make your reservations at 639-8533, 389-2378 or email us at sandypointvillagehotel@gmail.com.
Living in victory every day.
Inspire, motivate, encourage, hope. It's about topical issues. It's about everything that you would want to know about hope, about life. At the end, you're going to say, yes, if he can do it, I can do it too. If she can, I can do it too.
No matter what they say, living in victory every day.
Nicole Lawson Live, living in victory every day. Every Sunday at 8 p.m. and Wednesday at 4:30 p.m. on WESN.
Have a content capital Christmas. It's the best time of the year. Now I know we have no snow, but Christmas is still here. Ho ho, the Christmas shows each week for all to see. Movie classics wait for you and our local content for free. Have a content capital Christmas, and in case you didn't hear, oh by golly, have a content capital Christmas this year. Join me, Sule A. Joseph, as I delve into the day-to-day psychological issues plaguing our society. We will discuss behaviors that encompass the biological influences, social pressures, and environmental factors that affect how you think, act, and feel. Site, Thursdays at 11:30 a.m., only on WESN, Content Capital.
The issue, the continued rise in the price of flour and its impact on the cost of living in Trinidad and Tobago. How should we go about it? I want to ask you what has been revealed to you about the state of vulnerability in the country because of this exercise and because of what we're going through. Is the government losing the war on the vaccine front?
The discussion should revolve around the common good for the greatest number of people in Trinidad and Tobago.
How do we inculcate a sense of respect and regard for people who may not be of your own political ilk or persuasion?
The communities are now being used by political opportunists. So
when the tables are turned, it's the same way. Okay, this has been 10 questions. I'm Andy Johnson, and we'll see you next time. All right, welcome back to the program. With moments from now, we should be talking with Mr. Lyndhurst Murray. He's an industrial relations practitioner. It has to do with what, in some people's view, are some troubling developments at the institution known as Eastern Credit Union. Before we get to that, however, while we get him in the Zoom, let's take a look at what's a story coming out of St. Lucia now. A former attaché to the ex-Prime Minister, Alan Chastanet, Norbert Williams, has died, and there's a report from HTS News Force.
A somber moment for those who knew and loved him after news broke of the passing of host of Keeping It Real, Norbert Williams, early Monday morning. An outpouring of condolences flooded pro-UWP pages. Former Prime Minister Alan Chastanet on his Facebook page wrote, quote, "It is with profound sadness that I must share the distressing news with you that my former attaché, Mr. Norbert Williams, who was more commonly known as Nobby or Bowtie, has passed away whilst undergoing treatment in Martinique. His sense of humor, patriotism, and his no-nonsense approach to dealing with issues which affect the lives and livelihoods of St. Lucians will be missed by all of us who had the honor of knowing him. Rest in perfect peace, Nobby. You will be missed greatly." End quote. The opposition UWP insider and talk show host was known for his scathing commentary on trending political matters, especially on UWP media. Williams was not one to back down from his pro-UWP stance with blistering takes on conservative radio. However, news of his tragic passing has sent shockwaves at politicos on both sides of the partisan fence.
Politicians have adopted different ways of convincing the people. Sadly, some of us, I want to speak inclusively, because even the Bible says, let he who is without sin cast the first stone. Some of us delve into the gutters sometimes, going after each other, which is not right. It cannot be right by any stretch of the imagination. Myself and Boutaiman have had our differences. Before those political differences, we were members of the Royal St. Lucia Police Force together. And so, from deep within my heart, I want to send condolences to his family.
Williams was a staunch proponent of Alan Chastanet, as well as tenacious and outspoken critic of the SLP. But despite their differences of opinion, Richard Frederick has extended condolences to the bereaved.
Everybody has loved ones, and the passing of any human being would touch the feelings of others. So to them I say, just have the strength and just believe in God, because he guides and he rules and he leads everything.
Another close ally and UWP supporter, Farrell Prudent, wrote, quote, I am broken. Our esteemed colleague and friend, Norbert Williams, passed away in Martinique this morning. I just got off the phone with his mom and aunt, who are so distraught. Please remember the family in your prayers. We will dearly miss you, Norbert. May your soul rest in peace. End quote. Williams is a former member of the Royal St. Lucia Police Band and the St. Lucia Cadet Corps. He also pushed for the establishment of a sex offender registry in St. Lucia during the mid-2010s.
Welcome back to the program. We're talking now with Mr. Lyndhurst Murray. He's an industrial relations practitioner, and he's updating us on what is apparently some, I would say, challenging developments at the organization known as Eastern Credit Union. Mr. Murray, thanks for coming on. Tell us what the situation is and what's your involvement in it.
Very good morning, and thank you for having me on, Mr. Johnson. It's quite a pleasure. The Eastern Credit Union, that has been existent for so many years, is now going through what I think one of the most difficult times in its history because of the new board that is headed by one gentleman by the name of Mr. Richard Norrie. What actually happened yesterday that sort of encompassed a lot of the nonsense that is going on. A young lady approached my company to represent her at an industrial relations matter. When we got there, the deputy CEO, when he heard I was on the matter, he promptly aborted the meeting and told the young lady that she must leave the premises. He then put his security personnel onto me to ask me to leave the premises. I wanted to know why. Then I was told that I was trespassing. I said, I can't be a trespasser. I own this company. I have been on this, a member of the Eastern Credit Union as a member for over 30 years. I have been on the board. I have contributed. Now, Eastern Credit Union came about from some hard-working people like Louis Lee Singh, Faith Wilshire, deceased, quite a number of people, Gary Cross and whatnot. Now, on that particular matter yesterday, the security came up to me. It was Mr. Cecil Gittins. And then Mr. Kester Lashley, who is in fact President General of a trade union, and he is the CEO, the deputy CEO. So they came there, and after a while, they said they will call the St. Joseph police to remove me. I said, okay, I'll wait. I just want this young lady to be able to leave because she has to go home to her family. And they refused to unlock the security door for her to be able to leave the premises. I asked on 7 occasions to allow her to leave. And they kept her there prisoner without letting her leave at all until I got on to the 999 police. They came, and it was only then, after approximately 2 hours, that she was able to leave the place. Now, what has been happening at Eastern Credit Union is that Mr. Norrie has surrounded himself by certain people who do not dare to oppose him. So what we have had, they have gotten rid of the then acting CEO. They have gotten rid of the human resource manager, and they've replaced it with a very tyrannical young lady as the new human resource manager. They have gotten rid of the group finance manager at a time when they were doing the audits. They have gotten rid of almost everybody who has challenged or who is not seemingly in support of Mr. Norrie. So the company, the organization has been steadily going down. And I wish to state that if the Honorable Foster Cummins, under whom the Commissioner Office now handles, you will find that when Eastern starts to collapse, as they have been, it is going to make Hindu Credit Union look like a tea party. It is that bad. Now, anytime Eastern Credit Union, which is the largest credit union in the English-speaking Caribbean, anytime we fold, it is going to be disastrous for every credit union in Trinidad and Tobago. And that cannot be a good thing at all. The Police Credit Union recently launched their new building. If they are to start losing people, because people now would say, look, I'm going to go to the banking sector because these credit union people cannot seem to manage a thing, then we are going to be in a serious problem. I am very concerned, and many people have been raising their voices with respect to Eastern Credit Union. But Mr. Nore and one of his cohorts, Mr. Maurice Hoyt, now I don't understand what is happening really, because both Nore and Hoyt are teachers in a school in Barataria. Hoyt is also now placed as the manager of EPL, which is Eastern Property Limited. That is a full-time job. And on top of that, both Hoyt and Nore have now changed around the financial arrangements at EPL and have that company paying for both of them to do their PhDs. Now, everybody else is suffering in the place. I understand, and I am subject to correction, that some of the monies that Hoyt gets as a salary there at Eastern Credit Union is in excess of 40,000. This is what I understand. I know Mr. Nore is on about, probably about 8 committees. I know also that there is a company vehicle assigned to the president that has suddenly disappeared. Rumor has it that it crashed beyond repair by somebody's relative. I'm not too certain. It's supposed to be a senior person's relative. So the whole of Eastern, and there have been stories in the press, and you'll find that Eastern comes out and says, no, that's not so. But right now, the then CEO has Eastern in court. Another board member has Eastern in court. They are trying to get rid of 2 former presidents, Mr. Wayne Estrada, who was a past president, Ms. Janelle, oh gosh, her name just escaped me, who is an attorney at law, and Ms. Kendra Prasad.
Well, when you say get rid of them, what do you mean?
Well, they have put them all on suspension, and they want to now have a special general meeting for the membership to throw them out completely out of their positions in the credit union. This is terrible. You are talking about 2 former presidents. 2 former presidents.
So what are the positions they now hold to be gotten rid of then?
Well, Janelle is still on the board. Ms. Kendra Prasad and Wayne Estrada, both of them are what you call alternates. So they are holding positions as representatives on the board, but they are largely ignored as far as I'm told. For instance, they're not invited to any of the statutory meetings. They're not invited to any sort of official function within the place. Mr. Nore has now taken over the role as CEO, I presume, because of the manner in which he has been doing things. Mr. Kester Lashley, mind you, Mr. Kester Lashley is the President General of a trade union and treating the employees with scant courtesy. Mr. Cecil Gittins is on the board of PTSC, and he is treating these people with some scant courtesy. It is a terrible thing that is going on at Eastern Credit Union that has become very, very unsatisfactory for the members, for the staff, and for everyone who Mr. Nore feels is not in support of him.
All right, so go back to you say that the person who is the President General of a trade union has another full-time. Is not a President General a full-time job? So he has another job at Eastern. That's what you're saying?
Yes, he's the deputy CEO of Eastern. He is the deputy CEO at Eastern, so he comes to work, I understand, on the afternoon. Doesn't come some days because he has to be in the industrial court or wherever he has to practice his role as a president general of a trade union. So, you know, you're wondering, well, what could be going on? What is in Nori's mind? Now, I do know from what I've heard and what I've investigated and found to be so, that both all Nori, Hoyt, and Mr. Kestalashi, they all live in the same community. They all live in the same NHDC community. That is another story by itself. I know that I had approached the governor of the central bank with a whole dossier that I have right here of information with respect to a board member. I went to the central bank. They sat on that report for 3-4 months until I just got fed up and I told them, look, give it back to me because you all want to apparently see Eastern Credit Union collapse and you do nothing about it. I will not be part of that. As a former board member, I am very concerned.
All right, so what is the situation, what is the issue around the lady who, from what you described, she was being prevented from leaving an office?
Yes. When as I said, when I arrived and they recognized that I was there to represent, I had sought the permission of the union and they had granted that to me. When they heard that I was there, they sent out a message to say the meeting is cancelled. So I tried to find out why it's been cancelled. And that is what the series of things that happened. Everything started to collapse after that. And as I said, they refused to let the lady leave. Even when I was speaking to the dispatcher in the 999, they could have heard me saying to Mr. Lashley, please open the door and let the lady leave. I will stay here for any police that you all wish to have come here. You cannot tell me that I'm trespassing on my own property. I am a shareholder here, so I am part owner here. Like all other members. You can't throw me out like that. But let the lady leave. Let her go home to her husband, to her children. But Mr. Lashley kept trying to bully her, and because he apparently went into her background and found out that she has a mortgage, and he was throwing all of that in her and saying, listen, this gentleman is going to jeopardize your job. You hear him here? Don't this, don't do that. And I'm saying, but you cannot speak to my client like that. Let her leave the premises. Open the door because you have the electronic key for it with Mr. Gittins, both of them there. I said, open the door and let her leave. I'll be here. They refused to do that until the police came. And, you know, I must thank the 3 police officers who were very, very good. WPC Tempro, Constable Slack, and their supervisor 20295 Bartholomew. They demonstrated what true policing is. They were able to speak very calmly, settle down the situation, and then accompany the young lady out to her vehicle at the car.
So what is the issue? What is the issue around which this happened? What is she accused of, if that is...
I will tell you that. There was apparently a newsletter going around in the company that is called The Observer. It has been going around for many years prior to Nori and they coming in. But anyhow, this Observer printed all information about the misdeeds of the board and of the executive members and whatnot. They decided that this lady, who was an executive assistant, they decided that she must be knowing something about it. So they sent her on 1-week suspension and told her, look, if you want us to take off the suspension and let you come back out, tell us who is behind this document called The Observer. So while she was on 1-week suspension, another issue of the Observer came out. And I understand another executive assistant, this is what I'm hearing now, another executive assistant has also been sent to and told, tell us what you know about this thing. So in other words, they seem to be fishing. The young lady says she doesn't know anything about it. As a matter of fact, I've advised her this morning to go back to the St. Joseph police station and lodge a report about illegal detention and have them do the criminal investigation into the behavior of Eastern Credit Union as a whole and Mr. Kester Lashley and Mr. Cecil, what's his name? Gittins in particular. You cannot do that to people. The lady was stressed out. I had to call her in the evening to calm her down and make sure she was home safely with her family and all that goes with it. So that was the issue that gave rise to it. But you see, at Eastern, anybody who seems to go against Mr. Norrie and Mr. Lashley, you are going to lose your job. The first thing they do is that they tell you, take all your vacation leave. And then you know you're not coming back inside there again. You know that. That's what they did to the last human resource manager. They told him to go on vacation. He went on vacation. When his vacation ended, they told him he's now going to proceed on administrative leave. They kept him on administrative leave for a number of months. His contract ran out and they just didn't renew his contract. That's the end of it. And they have this lady now who I see her as a tyrant because she was very disrespectful to me when I spoke to her. This is a young lady who almost lost a job when I was on the board, and she came to me with long tears pleading that she had mortgage to pay and she was being distressed and whatnot. And I had to twist the arms of the then president to say, look, let this lady get a 3-year contract instead of the 1-year contract that her boss wants to give her. Now she has treated me with total disrespect at Eastern Credit Union yesterday. I was so shocked and perplexed. I said, this couldn't be the person who a couple of years ago.
So to put it mildly, all is not well at this institution.
All is not well at all. And to make, as I said, if it continues, the Hindu credit unions debacle would appear to be a tea party. And
we gotta leave it there. We gotta leave it there, Mr. Murray. Thank you very much for bringing us up to date on that.
I thank you for giving me the time. God bless.
You're very welcome. Well, that's our broadcast for this edition of the program. We want to thank you very much for watching. We want to thank all our guests. We'll tell you that in half an hour, the guys will come in for today's edition of Talking Point. That's Shah and Small. Before that, however, there'll be news at the top of the hour. But for now, here, we're done. Thank you for watching. I'm Andy Johnson. We'll see you tomorrow.
WESN.
This is your musical surgeon, Dr. Ross, inviting you to the sweetest Christmas show ever, Soca Parang Fiesta, Saturday 10th December, Sapa, and Sunday 11th at Napa. I'll be your host, inviting you to come on down. Let's have a sweet time together.
Excitement is building for the sweetest Soca Parang show ever. Get your tickets now to be a part of Soca Parang Fiesta in tribute to Kenny J. Enjoy top stars like Myron B. With a broke man like Alicia Jagasa, Rokro, Marcia Miranda, Posa, Marilyn Williams, Rome, Eddie Charles, Ninja, Bindley B, the Xavier String, the Alumnus de San Juan, and your host for both nights, Dr. Ross.
If you need a roller stick for free,
All happening at Soca Parang Fiesta. Saturday 10th December, Sapa San Fernando, 6 p.m. And Sunday 11th, Napa Port of Spain, 4:30 p.m. General admission tickets cost $300. Bought by Saturday, December 3rd. Cost $50 less. This is the last discount for the show. Special reserve available on request.
For more info, call 331-4285.
Living in victory every day.
Inspire, motivate, encourage, hope. It's about topical issues. It's about everything that you would want to know about hope, about life. At the end, you're going to say, yes, if he can do it, I can do it too. If she can, I can do it too.
No matter what they say, living in victory every day.
Nicole Lawson Live, living in victory every day. Every Sunday at 8 p.m. and Wednesday at 4:30 p.m. on WESN.
It's Christmas time, and with your family you'll spend every evening watching a movie on WESN. The classics that fill your heart with merriment and cheer as we celebrate together the most wonderful time of the year.
This is my island in December.
This Christmas, WESN celebrates with you as the content capital brings the big screen classics. Join us with your loved ones Mondays to Saturday, 8 p.m. and Sundays at 9 p.m. for We Christmas Movie Classics.
Santa's coming to town. Santa! Oh my God! Santa here? I know him. I know him.
Only on WESN, Content Capital. The newest book is here, Closer to the Church, the debut novel by author and former Mayor Louis Lee Singh. Available at all the Home Store branches, Barataria, West Mall, Shogunas and C3 San Fernando. Paper-based bookshop 10 Nook Avenue, St. Anne's. WESN 30A Gattaca Street, Woodbrook. Metropolitan Bookshop, Ariapita Avenue, Woodbrook, and all RIK bookstores nationwide. Available online as paperback on Amazon.com and Kindle for e-readers. For more info, call 62835 or 389-6504. Also available from author Louis Lee Singh, I Used to Live in Heaven, Letters to My Granddaughters, and Local Government in Trinidad, Conspiracy Against the People.
I'm Sean Michael Small,